You already know your business depends on you too much. That's not the problem. The problem is you can't pinpoint where. You can feel that everything's routing through you, but feelings are impossible to fix. So today, I'm going to show you how to find exactly where your business is too dependent on you, and you can do it in a day without having to figure anything out. Fix this, and you'll have a specific list of all the things routing through you and what you can offload to your team. So in the next few minutes, I'll cover why you can't fix this by thinking more, how to get answers in a day, and what to do once you have those answers. You've probably been pretty diligent about this already. You sat down and made a list of what to delegate, but stalled out after 3 or 4 items. You read the top delegation advice, but it wouldn't map cleanly to your business. And maybe you've even learned some of this the hard way when fires popped up you had to deal with while you were on vacation. The reason why none of these work is because these moments, the situations where your business is too dependent on you, are often invisible when they're happening. When you've got a million things on your mind and someone asks you a question, you don't register it as a problem. You just answer as quickly as you can so you can get back to work. So when you sit down to make a list of what routes through you, you can only think of the big stuff, the 2 or 3 things that you can't ignore. All the small things that eat up your week don't make the list because they don't feel important enough for you to notice. You're trying to remember something that you never noticed in the first place. And that's why your list is always short and always wrong. It's a list of where your business is the loudest, not where it depends on you. Which means the fix isn't to think harder, it's measurement. You need to catch these dependencies when they happen, while they're still visible. And to do that, you can use what I call the routing audit. It takes about 5 minutes of work, and you'll have answers by the end of the day. All you have to do is, for one day, every time something comes back to you, write it down. An approval, a decision, a question. Note everything, even the small things. Who brought it to you, and what it was. Now, you won't catch everything in one day, and you don't have to. You'll spot enough to act on and see things you've been missing for months. And once you do that, you can always run this audit again on a longer time frame. Also, make sure when you're doing your audit, you're just focused on logging, no need to analyze yet. The moment you start thinking, well, that item had to come to me, you're editing the data. Log now, judge later. And then at the end of the day, go through your list, and for each item, ask yourself 2 questions. Could someone else have decided this, and who should own this going forward? And if it's something only you can decide, great. The point isn't to prove that everything should be handed off, it's to separate what genuinely needs you from what you've just gotten used to doing. And once you've gone through your list, what you're left with is your bottleneck map, a list of places where your business is still dependent on you, using your own business as evidence instead of just guessing. Like one founder I worked with who owns a couple gyms. He was constantly busy and felt like he never had enough time for big picture work that would actually move the needle. He told me all his time was going towards training clients, and he needed to get out of that if he wanted his business to grow. But when I asked him if he was sure about that, he didn't know, so we ran a routing audit. What he didn't realize is just how much of his time was going towards one-off client questions and scheduling, things that had nothing to do with actually training clients. Once he spotted that, he was able to hand these off to his lead trainer, and that finally freed him up enough to start growing the online side of his business, which is way more scalable than the brick and mortar side. And that's what happens to most founders. You've got one big obvious thing eating up your time, so that becomes the answer, while a bunch of smaller things quietly eat up your time too. Now it's your turn. Tomorrow, not next week, keep a running list somewhere. Your phone, laptop, notebook, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that every time something comes to you, you jot it down. Then at the end of the day, run each item through those 2 questions, decide which items shouldn't be yours, pick one, and hand it off this week. Now, if you do this and you end up with a list of things that shouldn't be routing through you, but you're not sure why they got there, that's a pattern that I work on with founders, and I put together a free training on it. Links in the description if you want to check it out. And for more content like this, just hit subscribe. All right, I'll see you in the next one.